Welcome back, guys. In this video we're going to code the summoner. Alright, so let's get started right away. The very first thing I'm going to do is to make a prefab out of our summoner simply by drag and dropping him into our prefabs folder. I'm also going to do the same with our minion, so just drag and drop the minion onto the prefabs folder. Alright, perfect. So we're now going to just remove the minion from the scene for now because he is all set up from the previous video. So for the summoner, we're going to select him. The first thing I'm going to do is add a box collider 2D. I'm going to press the edit collider and I'm just going to shape it as you like. Okay, once that's been done, I'm going to add a rigid body 2D component. I'm going to set the gravity scale to 0 and add the constraints to the Z axis. I'm also going to remember to add the enemy tag and the enemy layer to the summoner. Alright, all we have to now do is add the summoner script to him, and once that has been created, we're just going to double click on it and start coding him out. Alright, so how our summoner is going to work. So basically the first thing he's going to do is take a random position on the map and move towards that position. Once he arrives at that position, he's going to start spawning every X seconds a small little minion. He will also leap towards the player just like the melee enemy does if the player gets too close. First thing I'm going to do is create 4 public variables: min X, max X, min Y, and max Y. Okay, next we're going to create a private vector2 variable called target position. This variable here will store the position of the selected area on the map where he will be spawning his minions from. And then lastly, we need a private animator variable called anim, which is just a reference to the animator that's attached to our summoner so that we can change the animations based on if he's summoning or if he's running towards his target position. Now let's create our void start function. So before we forget, we have to derive from our enemy script. So we're going to replace model behavior with enemy. Perfect. So now there's one little problem with this start function, because inside of our enemy script we also have a start function. So there's a little bit of code that we have to do to make this all work. First of all, in the enemy script start function, we're going to make it public and we're going to add the keyword virtual. Now let's save that, and inside of our summoner we're also going to make the start function public, and we're going to add this one the keyword override. So basically what this is doing is that instead of running this start function here, it's going to overwrite it and we're going to run this start function right here. But in our case we still want to find our player, but we also want to add some code on top of it. So we're just going to have to say base.start, and that will call the start function from our base class, in our case the enemy script. Alright, so once that's been done, we have to calculate our target position. To that, I'm going to create 2 float variables. The first one's going to be called float random x, and it's just going to be equal to random.range between min x and max x. So this line here is basically going to create a random number between our min x and our max x variable. We're now going to just copy and paste this variable underneath, and we're going to do the same for the y. Alright, once we've created our 2 random variables, I'm just going to set our target position equal to a new vector2. The x value will be equal to random x, and our y value will be equal to random y. It's as simple as that. Lastly, we are going to set our anim variable equal to getComponent animator to get a reference to our animator script. Awesome. Alright, next thing we have to do is to make him move towards his target position. So, inside of our void update function, the first thing like usual that we have to do is to check if the player is not equal to null. In our cases, if he is alive. Okay, then we're going to check if the vector2.distance between our transform position, so our current position, and the target position. So if the distance between our current position and the target position is greater than something like 0.5, just put any small value in here, then that means that we're still too far away from our target position. So we want to move towards there a little bit more. To do so, we're just going to use our transform.position. And we're going to set it equal to, of course, the vector2 dot move towards function. we're going to pass in our transform dot position, target position, and then for speed, we'll just say speed multiplied with time dot delta time. Alright, that's great. And also we're going to say anim.setBool is running to true. So this line here will basically play the run animation. Alright, perfect. Alright, so now let's save our script and test this out inside of Unity. Alright, so here inside of Unity, I'm going to fill in my variables. So for now, I'll just put health a value of 2, speed I'll put 20. For the time between attacks variable for now, we're just going to put something like 2. The damage I'll put 1. And then after, how are we going to calculate these min-x, max-x, and so on variables? Well, simply we're just going to take our summoner and move him all the way to the border of the map, just like we did for the camera fall script. Then I'm just going to look at the x value, I'll copy it and paste it right here. So just do the same for all 4 corners. Alright, once you have finished filling out your variables, we can press the play button. As you can see, the Necromancer selects a random position on the map. Alright, next thing to do is to make him spawn his minions once he has reached his target position. Alright, so after we have checked the distance between the transform position and the target position, I'll just make a else statement. So if we are inside this else statement, that means that we have reached our target position. Alright, so if we have reached our target position, then we want to say anim.setBool is running, and we're going to set it to false this time. Next off, we want to start summoning our minions. So for that, we need to create 2 variables, a public float variable for the time between summons, and a private float variable for the summon time. Inside of our else, we're going to make a if statement checking if the current time in the game, so time.time, is greater or equal than the summon time. If it is, then we're going to set the summon time back equal to the current time in the game, so time.time, adding of course to it the time between summons variable. Alright, so now how are we going to summon our minion? So we're not going to call just a simple function. We're going to use something called animation events. Basically, an animation event is just an animation that we're going to be playing, and that animation there will call a function at a specific frame of its animation. So we're using this because we don't want to just spawn our minion at the beginning of the animation. We want to spawn our minion once the summoner has landed back on the floor after his jump. This will give a more impactful feeling to the summon. So I'm simply going to say anim.setTrigger, and we called it summon, and this will let us play the summon animation. Now we just have to save the script and change one thing inside of Unity. Alright, so inside of Unity, I'm going to select the summoner and then open up the animation window, going under window and then selecting animation. We'll then select the summon animation from this drop down and then simply select the frame where the summoner lands back on the ground. So that will be around here, and then just press this add event button right here. As you will see, there will be this function drop down that appears, and here we can select a function that will get called once the animation reaches this point. So let's go back to our script and create the summon function. So right underneath our update function, I'm going to create a public void function called summon. Inside this function, I'll simply check if the player is not equal to null, just our simple safety check. So if he isn't equal to null, I will simply instantiate or spawn our minion. So the first parameter we need to pass in is what do we want to spawn. So for that, I'm going to come up here and create a public enemy variable called enemy to summon. Alright, so then I will use that enemy to summon variable in here. Then we have to specify the position that we want to instantiate the object from. So I'm just going to use transform.position, and for the rotation, I'll use transform.rotation. Alright, awesome. We can now save the script and test out inside of Unity. Right, so inside of Unity, I'm going to go to my drop down and select the summon function. Then I'll select the summoner. So for the time between summons, I've chosen to use the value of 5. And then we just have to go inside of our prefabs folder and drag and drop our minion onto the enemy to summon slot. Now if we press the play button, you'll see that the summoner moves to a random position on the map. He then starts doing his idle animation, and every 5 seconds he'll be spawning these minion characters that will chase the player around. Alright, so one little problem, as you see, is that these minions are rotating a little bit weirdly. And that is because if we select our minion, we forgot to add the froze rotation on the Z axis. So if you just press that, it will fix it. Alright, the very last thing that we need to add is the ability for the summoner to leap towards the player if he gets too near him. We're just going to go inside of the melee enemy script, and I will just copy the melee attack coroutine, and I will paste it inside of the summoner script. We then have to create the melee attack speed variable, so I'm just going to come up to the top of my script and add a public float melee attack speed. After that, I'm going to go inside of my melee enemy script and copy this if statement here, checking distance between the transform dot position and the player dot position. So I'm just going to copy that and paste it right here. So we're pasting it inside of the if statement, checking if the player is not equal to null. So then, if the vector to the distance between the transform position and the player dot position is smaller than the stop distance that we have to create, so let's go at the top of our script and create also the public float stop distance variable. So if the distance is smaller than the stop distance, then we don't want to move towards anything, but we want to do our melee attack. So let's go inside of our melee enemy script, and I'll just select this bit of code here for the timer and paste it inside. We then just need to create the timer variable and create the private float timer. Alright, so if we now save our script, everything should be all set up. Alright, so I'll just say 8 for the melee attack speed, and I'll give it a stop distance of 10. Alright, so if we now press the play button one last time, and also, as you can see, the summoner leaps towards the player if he gets too near him. Awesome, guys. That marks the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next